Have you ever found yourself feeling adrift? Maybe just a profound sense of weariness that just seems to hang in the air.
Yeah, that feeling.
Maybe your motivation feels like it's constantly battling an uphill current, or you've noticed, a collective struggle among people around you. To find a lasting sense of purpose amidst life's relentless ups and downs. It's a surprisingly pervasive feeling, isn't it?
It really is. Something many of us, or people we know, contend with, often without really knowing why.
Exactly. Well, today we're embarking on a true deep dive into some truly profound and incredibly timely insights. Our source material is particularly fascinating excerpts from a YouTube video by Professor Lucia Helena Galvão. It's titled Você está sem forças. Descubra o motivo e como se levantar de novo, from the Nova Acropole Brazil channel.
Right, and these ideas, they don't just scratch the surface.
No, they really don't. They offer a powerful, almost like foundational perspective on where true enduring motivation actually comes from. And crucially, how to cultivate a deep, unshakable resilience. The kind that doesn't falter when the world around you does.
Yeah, our mission in this deep dive is really to extract the most potent nuggets of knowledge from Professor Galvão's material. We want to guide you toward an understanding not just of what might be causing a lack of inner strength, maybe in yourself or others you see, but why a very specific internal kind of purpose can act as, well, an unshakable anchor for your entire life. We'll delve into how to navigate a world that often feels full of what the professor calls psychological dramas, which is such a great phrase.
It really is.
By tapping into a profound internal wellspring of strength. So this allows you to stand firm, to remain centered regardless of the shifting sands of external circumstances. And to really bring this concept to life, we're going to explore this really vivid and surprisingly simple analogy she uses.
Oh, a table analogy.
Exactly. It perfectly illustrates how to build that inner fortitude, ensuring you walk away with a clear, maybe even actionable understanding.
The modern predicament. A crisis of motivation.
Okay, so let's begin by unpacking the very core of this issue, right? As presented by the source. Professor Galvão starts with a really stark observation, one that resonates deeply when you stop to think about it. A person without motivation is subject to all the psychological dramas of the world.
It is hard.
It does. And this isn't merely about feeling a bit tired or, uninspired on a Monday morning. It suggests a profound and honestly dangerous vulnerability. It implies an almost constant exposure to mental and emotional challenges that can truly undermine our well-being, our sense of self, our capacity to just navigate life.
Yeah, it's more than just lacking drive. It's like a fundamental instability that leaves us
exposed.
Exposed, exactly. And what's truly illuminating here is the profound implication. Motivation isn't just like a desirable trait or a nice to have for achieving goals. The source presents it as a fundamental, almost primal defense mechanism against deeper psychological struggle.
Like an immune system.
Exactly, an immune system for the mind and spirit. Without it, we become susceptible to, a vast array of internal turmoil. And when Professor Galvão refers to all the psychological dramas, she's really covering the whole spectrum, isn't she?
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, the entire spectrum of human emotional suffering. This could range from those insidious, gnawing anxieties of daily life, the stress of just modern living, to moments of profound despair, or even just that general pervasive feeling of being overwhelmed when the pressures just pile up relentlessly.
Which happens a lot.
It does. And this isn't just an individual's bad day or a personal slump. It points to a much broader, almost societal trend where many feel this deep vulnerability, often without being able to really articulate its source. So it really sets the stage for understanding just how critical the ideas that follow truly are, because they aim to address this fundamental lack of a psychological immune response.
And the source doesn't shy away from painting a rather sobering picture of our current reality. It states very directly that this isn't isolated, it's a generation. And it explicitly notes, everybody knows it's in the statistics, that suffers from a tendency to depression, to collective melancholy.
That phrase, collective melancholy, it really lands, doesn't it?
It really does. It's a powerful descriptor for an entire era.
Yeah. It suggests it's not just individuals struggling in isolation. There's a widespread, almost shared experience of this emotional downturn, this sort of cultural malaise.
Yeah, it permeates the culture, impacting the general mood, the outlook of society as a whole.
It makes you wonder if we're all to some extent, kind of swimming in the same emotional waters.
Yep.
So if this widespread collective experience of melancholy is so prevalent, then this raises an absolutely critical question for all of us, right? What are the underlying diagnostic questions we need to ask ourselves, both individually and maybe as a society, to understand this profound sense of meaninglessness, this despair?
And she gives us those questions.
She does. Professor Galvão provides these foundational questions directly, almost like a guide for self-assessment. What are we motivated by? What do we live for? What do we seek?
These are not trivial questions.
They're all from it. They are diagnostic for a society and for individuals within it who are struggling with meaning, with direction, with finding that inner compass. I mean, think about it. In a world saturated with information, constant distractions, often this relentless pursuit of external validation, it becomes incredibly easy for our motivational wellsprings to become superficial. You know, we might be motivated by the latest trends, by social media likes, by financial targets, or just by the approval of others. And while these things aren't inherently bad, if they are our primary sources of motivation, they are inherently unstable. They just are.
Because they're external.
Exactly. They're external, fleeting, and largely outside of our control. So when these superficial motivators inevitably falter or disappoint, or when circumstances shift, we find ourselves adrift. And the shared experience of this collective melancholy, ironically, can make it even harder to spot the true, deeper problem. Because it feels like, oh, well, everyone else is feeling this way, so it must be normal.
Yeah, it normalizes the drift.
Exactly. But the source is challenging us to look beyond the superficial symptoms and ask those foundational questions about our true internal purpose, to find something more robust, more lasting than the ephemeral promises of the outside world.
The power of an ideal rising above circumstance.
That's such a crucial point, and incredibly challenging, isn't it? If we're all kind of collectively feeling this weight, and if our external motivations are proving to be, well, such fragile anchors, then how do you pull someone, or maybe more importantly, ourselves, out of those psychological dramas?
Right. What's the way out?
And the source provides a truly powerful answer. And it's not about finding a quick fix or, another external incentive. It suggests you need something above that pulls them.
Something above. I like that.
Yeah. And this something isn't a fleeting emotion or a temporary burst of enthusiasm or some superficial goal. It has to be something so profound that it gives them grit.
Grit. That deep resolve.
Exactly. That deep, unyielding internal resolve and a compelling, almost irresistible reason to push forward through any adversity. It's about having something greater to dedicate your life to.
It really elevates the whole conversation, doesn't it? Beyond just being happy or feeling productive.
Totally. It goes to having a profound, almost existential reason for your very existence.
Absolutely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this something above is precisely what Professor Galvão defines as an idealism that gives a person a motivation for their entire life.
For their entire life, not just a phase.
Right. This isn't a short-term goal like getting a promotion or buying a new car or hitting some milestone. Those are fine, but they are ends that can be achieved. And then what?
Then you need a new goal.
Exactly. This idealism is a profound, enduring purpose that shapes every decision, every action, every moment of one's existence. It's like a guiding star, always providing direction. And the source articulates this beautifully with examples that really define what that ideal looks like in practice.
Yeah, the examples are great.
Statements like, I want to be a true human being, and a true human being makes a difference in the world.
Powerful.
Or even a more humble yet equally profound declaration, I want to change the world, even just a little because I existed.
I love that one. Just a little bit.
Me too.
Yeah.
This is the very essence of an idealist.
Thank you.
Someone driven by a deep conviction to contribute, to improve, to leave a mark that transcends their individual desires and extends beyond their personal lifespan. It's a relentless, lifelong commitment to a higher version of themselves and, to a better world, however they define better. It's not about being perfect, but about that continuous striving.
Now, here's where it gets really fascinating, and I think incredibly practical. When we talk about this idealist, the source explains that an idealist may even get down, may even live a crisis.
Oh, that's so important.
Isn't it? It immediately grounds the concept in reality. It tells us that idealists are not immune to the struggles, the pain, the profound setbacks that we all face.
They're not superhuman, not detached from suffering.
Exactly. But, and this is the crucial difference, they will emerge from it. So what's their secret?
Yeah, how do they do it?
It's profoundly simple, yet incredibly powerful. When they open their eyes in the morning, they see a good reason to continue fighting.
Wow, just a reason.
That's the key, isn't it? It's not about avoiding the fall, but about having an intrinsic, unwavering reason to get back up, to persevere, even when everything else points to just giving up.
Exactly. And the source beautifully outlines this internal resolve. It paints such a vivid picture of an unshakable spirit that can withstand almost anything. An idealist isn't just passively wishing to make a difference. They are actively embodying this profound commitment to personal growth and positive impact, something that transcends temporary feelings or external condition.
Right. They live it.
They live it. They declare with this unwavering conviction, I won't leave the world as I found it. It's not just a wish. It's an active intention, like a personal vow. They state, I won't leave here the size I was when I arrived. I'll leave bigger than I entered. Which speaks to that relentless, almost spiritual pursuit of self-improvement and expansion.
Always growing.
Always growing, a commitment to evolving throughout their lives. And crucially, they hold the belief, the world will be a little better because I existed, and I don't give up on making a difference. This profound commitment isn't about being impervious to pain or avoiding challenges. Not at all. Rather, it's about having such a powerful and deeply internalized why that it transcends temporary setbacks, personal failures, devastating crises, even sustained suffering.
The why keeps them going.
It does. The ideal acts as that internal compass, always pointing forward, always reminding them of the deeper purpose that makes every struggle, every hardship, every moment of doubt worth enduring. It's like a continuous internal recalibration towards their ultimate goal, providing the energy and direction needed to not just survive, but to truly thrive amidst adversity.
So they see the crisis differently.
Yeah, they see the crisis not as an end, but as a challenge to be overcome on their path toward that ideal.
And this ideal, according to Professor Galvin, is so potent, so deeply woven into the fabric of one's being, that it justifies until the last breath, until the last moment, until the last gasp of life.
Wow.
Just imagine that for a moment. A purpose so powerful, so deeply ingrained, that it not only fuels your entire journey, but keeps providing meaning and direction, even in your very last moments.
It's an incredible thought, almost poetic, really. Reminds you of the ultimate potential of the human spirit.
It really does.
And it is truly a powerful and transformative concept. It speaks to the ultimate potential of having such an ideal. Even with one gasp of life, an idealist will seek to benefit the world in some way. And the source illustrates this with such poignant, relatable detail. It shows us it doesn't have to be grand, world-changing gestures in those final moments.
Right, not necessarily.
It could be as simple yet profoundly meaningful as they will say that word someone needs to hear, maybe offering comfort or some last piece of wisdom, or they might bring that comfort someone needs to receive, like a final act of empathy, or even more intimately, they might strive to conquer that level of feelings I would like to conquer.
Internally.
Internally, yes.
Yeah.
Maintaining internal composure, dignity, or inner peace right at the end. And that's a profound shift in perspective. It transforms every remaining moment, no matter how brief or difficult, into an opportunity for meaningful action, however small or internal it might seem to an outsider.
The focus shifts.
Completely. It moves from mere self-preservation to a broader contribution, a final act of living aligned with their ideal. The underlying message is unequivocal. As long as there is life, I will be fighting to be a better human being.
Wow.
It highlights how an ideal imbues every action, every thought, every feeling, even in extremis, with profound significance. Pushing beyond the conventional limits of what might seem possible or worthwhile, it's an ultimate expression of unwavering purpose.
So what this really boils down to is that a person with such an ideal has protagonism, has their own movement.
Protagonism, they're the main character.
Exactly. They're not passive observers in their own lives. They're not merely waiting for things to happen to them. Crucially, they are not pushed by circumstances.
Not push. That's key.
It really resonates with that idea of taking the reins of your own life, doesn't it? Becoming the primary author of your story, rather than just being a leaf blown about by the winds of fate or the whims of external events.
It's about being an active creator, not just a reactor. Precisely. And Professor Galvin makes another profound observation here, noting that whoever seeks the ends seeks the means.
Ah, okay. Explain that a bit.
Well, it's an incredibly important insight into human agency and proactive living. It means that when you have a clear, grand goal, this powerful, deeply personal ideal we've been discussing, it automatically ignites a problem-solving drive within you.
Right, you start looking for ways.
You don't passively wait for the means to just appear. You actively search for them, you invent them, you cultivate them, you adapt and innovate to create the path forward. It fundamentally shifts your mindset from one of passive waiting to one of proactive creation and relentless resourcefulness.
Which fosters self-reliance.
Immense self-reliance and initiative. Because if your purpose is so fundamental, so deeply ingrained in your being, then finding the necessary steps and tools to work towards it becomes non-negotiable. It becomes an intrinsic imperative. Think about this in your own experience. How often do you feel pushed by circumstances, feeling like you're constantly reacting to external events, just responding to whatever life throws at you?
Yeah, often it feels like that.
This ideal offers a radical alternative, becoming the architect of your own path, actively constructing your reality rather than merely reacting to it. It's about building an internal engine that tirelessly drives you forward, providing direction and energy rather than waiting for external forces to dictate your direction or waiting for ideal conditions to emerge.
It gives you the power to shape your world.
Even when the world attempts to shape you. Exactly.
The three-legged table, understanding our support systems.
Okay, so we've talked about these grand, almost philosophical concepts, the vulnerability of lacking motivation, the profound power of an unwavering ideal. But what does this all mean for us practically, in our everyday lives when we're dealing with the very real challenges?
Right, how does this translate?
This is where Professor Galvan offers that truly brilliant, vivid, and incredibly relatable analogy to make this entire concept crystal clear. She invites us to picture a flower vase on a three-legged table.
Ah, yes, the table. It's such a great image.
It really is. This seemingly simple image, it turns out, holds an incredibly powerful lesson about where we typically derive our stability in life. And, more importantly, what happens when those vital sources of support are threatened.
It really lets you visualize the foundations of your emotional and psychological balance.
Totally.
And this analogy is so effective because it helps us visualize, in a very tangible way, the crucial difference between dependent and independent sources of support in our lives. It's not just a clever thought experiment that sounds good in theory, it's a powerful tool for self-assessment. It encourages each of us to identify our own table legs.
Right, what are my legs?
Exactly. The things we rely on, perhaps unconsciously, for our sense of balance and well-being. It prompts us to reflect deeply on the very foundations of our stability, the pillars that hold up our perceived sense of security and identity.
It makes the abstract very concrete.
Immediately accessible and profoundly impactful, yeah.
And what do these three legs represent in the context of our lives, our human experience? The source gives us direct, incredibly relatable examples: a profession, friends, a financial situation.
Yeah, the big three for many people.
They really are common foundational pillars, aren't they? For so many of us, our careers provide purpose, a sense of identity, structure to our days. Our friendships and social connections give us that vital sense of belonging, emotional support, shared experiences.
Sure.
And our financial stability provides that crucial sense of security, peace of mind, the ability to meet our basic needs and pursue goals.
So it's very easy to see how these three elements, professional identity, social connection, material security, form the fundamental base of our table, providing comfort and confidence.
Absolutely. These are the tangible external circumstances and relationships that often define our sense of well-being, our place in the world, maybe even our self-worth.
And it's entirely natural and in many ways quite healthy to build aspects of our lives around these supports. They offer immediate stability, contribute to our daily functionality, and provide a sense of structure and predictability, which is incredibly comforting to the human psyche. Most of us, whether we think about it or not, structure our lives hoping these three legs stay firm and reliable.
We depend on them.
They are the immediate, visible sources of our equilibrium. And when they are strong, they offer a comfortable and relatively stable existence.
Now, here's where the analogy really starts to drive home Professor Galvan's profound point. Imagine, if you will, life starts unexpectedly cutting one of these legs. Yeah. The source gives us incredibly powerful and universally understood examples. A breakup, a divorce.
Things that happen to people all the time.
Exactly. And this can be an incredibly strong blow, as the source states, and it observes that many people already lose their balance there.
You see it happen.
You do.
Yeah.
Think about it for a moment. The emotional upheaval of a lost relationship, the profound change in shared identity, the often drastic alteration in daily routine and future plans. The entire table tremble.
The vase starts to wobble.
Right. The vase representing your inner self, your equilibrium, might already begin to fall. It's a profound shock to the system, an immediate threat to one's sense of self and stability.
It's not just readjusting, it's often losing a fundamental part of what held you up.
And what's particularly incisive here is the progression the source describes. It then illustrates what happens if, on top of that initial, already devastating shock of losing one leg,
If that wasn't enough.
right, if life cuts another leg, perhaps your financial life also enters chaos.
Oh boy.
This could be a job loss, a significant economic downturn, a personal financial crisis. At this point, the source starkly states, most people shatter. They won't be able to stand.
Shatter. That's a strong word, but it feels accurate.
It does. It paints a chillingly accurate picture of the profound fragility of a life built solely on external supports. When those pillars are removed, one after another, the entire structure of one's perceived stability just collapses.
The vase doesn't just wobble, it crashes. And with it, often a person's sense of purpose, identity, hope.
Everything seems to go.
Yeah. This deep dive really encourages you to reflect on your own legs, your job, your relationships, your finances, and to consider how robust your support system truly is when facing the inevitable challenges life presents.
Because challenges will come.
Exactly. It's not a question of if a leg will be cut, but when. And whether you have a backup plan, an alternative source of inner stability for when those external foundations are shaken, it forces us to ask, where is our true anchor?
The ceiling anchor, true resilience, and independent motivation.
Okay, so if our external supports our careers, relationships, finances are inherently vulnerable, easily severed by the unpredictable forces of life, what then?
What's the alternative?
Is there a different way to build our foundation? Professor Galvan poses this brilliant counter scenario, shifting our perspective dramatically. She asks us to imagine a different approach. What if, before those table legs were ever threatened, you'd done something completely different, something proactive?
Okay, I'm listening.
What if you had drilled a hole in the ceiling, installed a sturdy hook, like one of those heavy-duty hooks for a plant or something, and then attached the vase with a chain so it was suspended, just grazing the table?
Ah, so it's hanging.
Exactly.
Ned.
The vase is still connected, still interacting with the table, but its primary fundamental point of support is now located entirely elsewhere, above.
Right. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this anchor above, this sturdy hook in the ceiling, that's the profound and beautiful metaphor for the ideal we discussed earlier.
The eternal purpose.
That unshakable, deeply internal purpose. It provides a point of support that is entirely independent of the table or our external circumstances. And that's the crucial distinction, the paradigm shift. It's a source of strength that cannot be removed, cannot be cut, cannot be shattered by the vicissitudes of life.
Because it's not attached to the table.
Exactly. It exists in a different dimension, so to speak, offering a stability that isn't contingent on the ever-changing, often chaotic conditions of the world around us. It's a self-generated, self-sustaining source of strength, tethering us to something eternal and internal.
Now, here's the truly powerful part, the moment of revelation in this analogy. What happens if life cuts one leg of that table, the one where the vase is now just grazing?
Yeah, what happens then?
The source says simply nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. What if it cuts two? Absolutely nothing.
Wow.
And what if all the legs are cut and the table completely collapses, splintering into pieces? The vase remains standing because it only grazes the table. Its point of support is above.
That is such a vivid and honestly profoundly comforting image, isn't it?
It really is. The entire world can fall apart around it. Its immediate environment can be completely destroyed, and yet the vase remains upright, held firm by something unseen, something unshakable, something internal.
And the source reminds us this isn't just a hypothetical scenario, right? Not just a clever analogy that sounds good in theory.
No, she grounds it.
She grounds it firmly in reality by stating, there were men in history who went through situations where all their table legs were cut and remained standing.
Real people.
Real people. Their extraordinary resilience wasn't about magically avoiding hardship. It was about having this higher internal point of support. They had an ideal, had something they wanted to conquer as human beings. I mean, think of towering figures like Nelson Mandela. Spent 27 years in prison, losing freedom, family connections, profession, his direct ability to influence events.
All the legs.
Brutally severed. Yet he emerged with an unwavering purpose, an unbroken spirit, the moral authority to lead his nation. His sealing it, that ideal of justice and equality, held him firm.
Incredible example.
Or consider Viktor Frankl, endured the horrors of the Holocaust, unimaginable loss, family, freedom, dignity, profession, financial stability. All his table legs were not just cut, but pulverized.
It's just obliterated.
Yet he not only survived, but used his experiences to found logotherapy, a school of thought emphasizing the search for meaning. Precisely because he recognized that even in the most extreme suffering, one's internal purpose, one's ideal, could provide that unshakable anchor.
Wow.
Their resilience wasn't about being impervious to pain. It was about having that higher point of support, that ideal that gave their suffering meaning and their survival purpose.
So these remarkable individuals, supported by their profound ideal, they graze the world but don't depend on the world.
Graze the world. I love that phrase. It's so nuanced.
It is. It means they are fully present, they interact, they engage with society, they contribute, but they are not defined or dictated by its ever-changing conditions.
Yeah.
Its whims, its sudden catastrophes, or its temporary triumphs.
They exist within it, fully immersed and participating.
Yeah.
But their fundamental stability, their core identity, their resolve comes from somewhere else entirely.
Somewhere internal.
Exactly. And this raises an important and deeply personal question for all of us. What does it truly mean to graze the world without being dependent on it? It implies a very active and conscious form of participation, engagement, contribution, but without allowing external factors, successes or failures, praise or criticism, abundance or loss to be the sole determinant of one's identity, worth, or resolve.
So you're in the world.
You're in the world, fully immersed, interacting with its realities, contributing your unique gifts, but crucially, not being of the world in that fundamental way that makes you susceptible to its every shift, its every storm.
Right. Your worth isn't tied to the external stuff.
Precisely. Your worth isn't contingent on your job title, your bank balance, or your relationship status. It's about being fundamentally anchored to something deeper within yourself. And the ultimate, incredibly empowering result of this mindset, as the source beautifully describes, is that whatever happens, they stay standing and come out the other side bigger than they entered.
Bigger than they entered, not just surviving, but growing.
Exactly. They don't just endure hardship, they grow, they learn, they transcend their challenges, precisely because their core purpose, their sealing anchor, remains intact and unwavering. They leverage adversity not as a destructive force, but as a crucible for greater self-realization, for deepening their commitment to their ideal, and for forging a stronger, more complete human being.
They understand that external circumstances can strip away everything but
your internal commitment and your chosen attitude towards life. And that is where true power lies.
the ultimate aspiration. What do you truly want to be?
Okay, so after this profound journey through the fragility of external supports and the unwavering power of an internal ideal, what does this all mean for you, listening right now? For your own life, your own struggles, your own unique search for purpose and resilience. Professor Galvan brings it right back to a deeply personal and foundational question. She urges us to ask ourselves the very first thing we must consider when truly thinking about this topic. What do I want to be?
Not what do I want to have.
Exactly. Not what you want to have, a bigger house, a higher salary. Not primarily about what you want to do, a specific career, a grand achievement. It's about what you fundamentally want to be at the core of your existence.
And what's particularly fascinating and crucial here is the clarification that immediately follows this question. The source emphasizes that this goal or ideal must be real, meaning it's not tied to fleeting things, to circumstances, to situations.
Right, it can't be another table leg.
Exactly. It cannot be dependent on external factors that can be taken away. And crucially, it must be something that depends only on me.
Only on me.
Yeah.
That internal control.
That emphasis on internal control, on self-agency, is absolutely paramount. It's about recognizing that true, unshakable purpose must originate from within, independent of external validation or conditions. It's a purpose that no external force, no person, no circumstance, no economic downturn, no crisis can ever take away from you.
Because you control it.
You control it. And this isn't about a career path you want to pursue, or a material possession you wish to acquire, or a social status you desire. While those can be components of life well lived, they are not the ideal itself.
You're not the anchor.
No. Instead, it's about defining your intrinsic value, your character, your ethical framework, your capacity for empathy, your pursuit of wisdom, a deeply personal, and utterly liberating endeavor that no one can ever truly take from you. It's a self-definition that is inherently resilient to all the world's inevitable dramas, because its foundation is entirely within your own control.
It's choosing who you are.
Choosing who you are at the deepest level, regardless of what happens to you.
And as if to give us a powerful universal starting point for this profound self-reflection, the source then suggests that the best thing we can want to be is to be a complete, full human being.
A complete, full human being. It sounds so simple, yet so profound.
It does. And this isn't about achieving some static state of perfection, which is impossible anyway. Rather, it's about wholeness, about integrating all aspects of our being. It is presented as the ultimate aspiration, the most profound ideal one can truly pursue across a lifetime.
It's like a call to fully embody our potential, to strive for a life of integrity, wisdom, compassionate action.
Exactly.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this ideal of being a complete, full human being isn't about reaching some static endpoint where you suddenly declare yourself complete and then just stop striving.
No, it's ongoing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a dynamic, ongoing process of growth, learning, and contribution that spans an entire lifetime. It's about continually striving to realize one's fullest potential across multiple dimensions of human experience. Think about intellectual curiosity, emotional intelligence, ethical action, compassionate engagement with others, maybe even physical well-being.
The whole picture.
The whole picture. It's an ideal that calls us to be fully present and engaged in all aspects of our lives, constantly working towards self-mastery and a profound connection with the world, not just excelling in one specific area like a career or a hobby.
It demands a holistic approach.
It does. And this unifying ideal provides that ultimate ceiling anchor. It's a purpose so fundamental, so encompassing, and so internal that it grants you the unwavering ability to graze the world resiliently.
Participating fully
Without being dependent on its volatile nature. It allows you to stand firm, to grow, and ultimately to emerge bigger than you started, no matter what challenges life throws your way. It's the constant internal force that propels you forward, enabling you to participate fully in life's rich tapestry without ever being enslaved by its temporary conditions, its fleeting promises, or its inevitable hardships.
It's the unshakable foundation.
For a life of profound meaning and enduring strength. Yes. Outro.
Wow. Well, we've taken a deep dive today into the profound connection between an enduring internal ideal and our fundamental capacity for motivation and resilience.
That's powerful stuff.
It really is. We began by acknowledging that widespread collective melancholy and understanding how a lack of such a deep-seated purpose leaves us, well, profoundly vulnerable to what Professor Galvan calls psychological dramas. We then journeyed into the powerful concept of an idealism that acts as that unshakable inner anchor, guiding us and giving us grit when external supports falter. And through that vivid and incredibly insightful analogy of the three-legged table and the ceiling-anchored vase, we clearly distinguished between those fragile external dependencies and an internal, unwavering purpose that allows us to stand firm.
The distance is critical.
It's a powerful reminder, isn't it, that true strength and an unshakable sense of self often come from within, from that something above that only you can define and cultivate.
So if an ideal can truly justify every last gasp of life and empower us to graze the world but not depend on it, maybe consider this as you move forward. What small, immediate step could you take today to either begin defining or perhaps more deeply align your daily actions with that something above, that unique personal ideal that depends only on you, that no one can ever take away?
Doesn't have to be huge.
Not at all. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. It could be just a moment of reflection, a choice in how you respond to a challenge today, or maybe your renewed commitment to a person of value you hold dear. Let that thought resonate as you move through your day. Maybe it can help you begin to forge or strengthen your own unshakable anchor.